This is the Acer Swift 7, a very thin and light notebook. But one thing it can never do is play games, and yet somehow I'm playing Destiny 2, a game that runs at 30 frames a second on console, at 60 on something that was clearly never designed for gaming. But hang on a second, this doesn't even have a graphics card, so how can something as thin and light as this actually play the latest games? Well, the thing is, the truth of it is that it can't handle the latest games. It doesn't have the hardware. But that doesn't mean you can't play them. The whole system works with a new service called Geforce Now. It's been dubbed the Netflix for games, as the principle is actually pretty much exactly the same. Instead of having a big game saved locally to your hard drive, you instead stream the game from a server in the cloud. Just like Netflix, you'll receive a video feed on your screen, and all the computer will actually need to do is send your controller or keyboard commands back to the cloud for player movement and actions. This means that it will work on practically any up-to-date PC or Mac, regardless of size, form factor, or even processing power. Getting set up is incredibly simple, as all you need to do is download the GeForce Now client, link it to your Nvidia account, and then link it to any other game accounts you have. So Steam, Uplay, and Battle.net are all currently supported, and I'm sure something like Origin will eventually arrive, though at the time of filming that's not actually the case. The main caveat is that you do need to already own the game in order to play it. So if you don't have a gaming PC, that doesn't mean that you can't just download Steam, buy the game, and then play it through GeForce Now. Of course, all of this is pretty meaningless if the gameplay experience itself is naff, so what's it actually like to use? Well, the service is still in beta at the moment, which means you've got a few quirks, so a few issues, maybe a disconnect or a weird bug like my special edition of Assassin's Creed Black Flag showing up as an unsupported game, even though it is, and just some weird stuff like that. But generally, and on the whole, it really has been one of the most impressive bits of new tech I've seen in a long time. Been following this sort of thing from around OnLive, which was pretty terrible when that launched, but the fact that the Swift 7, which is about as far away as a gaming computer as you can possibly get, can play games like Just Cause 3 or Destiny 2 at 60 frames a second, or even games like Fortnite at 120, it's remarkable, and technically speaking the games don't look bad too, and this is without having to download any large game files while maintaining great battery life, because it's streaming, so you're not running it natively and causing a large power draw. So then, this is the perfect service, it's the answer to all of your problems, and if you don't have it, you should go out and get it now. Well, no, hold on a second, not necessarily, because while there's some very strong advantages to this system, there still are a couple of fundamental flaws. The first one is visual quality, as while the games don't suffer from streamy murkiness like you might think, the resolution can be quite low as it caps out at 1080p, and on laptops you actually likely see this to be a little bit lower as it sort of scales with your display. But I can get over all of that. The most significant issue, and the reason I wouldn't use this service for all of my games, is latency. And Nvidia have been working to get this down to a minimum. And if you're not familiar, latency is basically the time it takes to press a key on your keyboard and then actually get a response on screen. So if you move your mouse, it's a little bit slower than it would be if you were playing locally on a console or a gaming PC. And this means that certain games can just feel a little bit off. And things like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds that really rely on fast, nippy reactions, you just feel like you're at an immediate disadvantage, and even if you're a great player, it is going to impact you. But the question is, does this actually matter? And it is going to depend entirely on the games you play. But in competitive games, multiplayer games like Call of Duty or PUBG, then it's not really something that I personally would want to use, as I would much rather just wait, play the games on my gaming PC or console, and then maybe play some other games with this service instead. As while there is a slight amount of input lag, it's not enough to pull you out of the story, and you can quickly get used to it. The service does support controllers too, if that's your bag, though if you do use one, I'd recommend using a wired controller to cut down on any further input lag that wireless controller might add. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what you actually want and expect from the service. As if you've already got an Xbox, PS4 or a gaming PC, then for competitive games, stick with that. It's going to be a better bet for you. But if you want something that you can take with you everywhere you go on a PC that isn't equipped for gaming, then this service is ideal. But more so than that, if you are currently maybe a console player but you want to start playing some PC games or some PC games with your friends, this is also a great way to get started in that ecosystem. You've just got to be aware that there are some limitations. The fact for a start that you will need a very good internet connection to actually get this running. Wi-Fi works, but you're going to need good signal. Ethernet is recommended, and ultimately that there is latency that is going to affect certain people in certain titles. So then, GeForce Now, is this something that you are going to be interested in or something you're really not? Let me know down in the comments section below, but if you have enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and get subscribed for more videos just like this straight to your inbox. But regardless, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.